to CHCI Press, your source for measurable, real-world strategies that help organizations attract and retain high-performing people, build an inclusive workplace, and maximize team performance. Today's topic is resolving team conflict. In this webinar, you'll learn effective strategies for conflict resolution. Today, you will learn how to spot conflicts, identify what starts conflicts, and understand how to resolve conflicts when they arise. First, what is conflict management? Conflict management, also known as conflict resolution, is the process of handling disagreements and opposing actions with individuals or groups. Successful conflict management involves gaining advantages from disagreements rather than simply evading or suppressing them. As a manager, you likely have a busy schedule, so why should you invest your time in managing these conflicts? Consider this. The average American worker spends about 2.8 hours per week entangled in negative conflicts. That adds up to approximately $10,000 in lost productivity annually. This significant cost emphasizes the importance of your role in effectively addressing workplace conflicts. Conflict can sometimes arise from seemingly insignificant factors, yet failing to address these minor issues can escalate disputes into serious problems. Beyond the financial consequences, unmanaged conflicts can lead to increased stress, work disruptions, health issues, absenteeism, and even employee turnover. When you proactively address destructive conflict, several positive outcomes emerge. 1. Worker health and resilience improve, since reducing anger and stress protects against anxiety and heart disease. Improved sleep quality enhances the immune system, cognitive function, and work performance. 2. Positive reciprocity builds as trust is rebuilt, fostering goodwill. 3. Team members collaborate more effectively, leading to better relationships and a more positive work environment, which in turn promotes increased idea sharing and productivity. All of these factors contribute to higher employee engagement. So, the key takeaway is this. Don't ignore destructive conflicts among coworkers or within and between groups. Conflict avoidance may seem like a short-term solution, but it often results in larger problems down the road. Now that we understand why managing conflict is crucial, let's delve into the common sources of conflict within teams. Understanding these sources and triggers can help you recognize and intervene early when necessary. Conflict at work takes different forms, but as a manager, you'll mainly encounter 3. 1. Interpersonal conflict, which involves 2 individuals on your team. 2. Intergroup conflict, when conflict spreads from 2 team members to involve others. And 3. Intragroup conflict, consists of conflict between teams, such as disputes over shared resources. Tension is normal, but open conflict can harm the organization. Assess conflict and consider these common root causes. Emotional roots. These are often tied to trust, respect, or feeling excluded. Misunderstandings and biases. These stem from not understanding expectations. Performance measures. Unfair or opaque measures lead to various conflicts. Organizational structure. Poorly structured processes and inconsistent rules can fuel conflict. Understanding and addressing these causes helps you manage and mitigate conflicts effectively. Before we explore conflict triggers, consider your work environment. Marshall Goldsmith, a renowned business coach and author, highlights how your surroundings can trigger undesirable behaviors in otherwise reasonable individuals. Goldsmith provides an insightful example. He wrote, "When you experience road rage on a crowded freeway, it's not because you're a sociopathic monster. It's because the temporary condition of being behind the wheel in a car, surrounded by rude, impatient drivers, triggers a change in your otherwise placid demeanor. You've unwittingly placed yourself in an environment of impatience, competitiveness, and hostility, and it alters you." This quote is from Goldsmith's bestseller Triggers, where he emphasizes that the environments you find yourself in, or choose to be in, can evoke a negative behavior or poor choices. A healthy and positive work environment is essential for avoiding or reducing conflict. Goldsmith also reminds us that as the day progresses, your resistance diminishes. In other words, by late afternoon, You and your team may have fewer resources to maintain self-control and resist behaviors that can lead to conflict. Before we delve into strategies for resolving destructive conflict, let's explore how you can establish conditions that reduce the likelihood of such conflicts. Establish robust communication channels. Create open lines of communication to facilitate dialogue and understanding. Prioritize relationship building. Invest in building strong relationships with your team members to foster trust and cooperation. Encourage trust and reciprocal respect. Cultivate an environment where trust and mutual respect are encouraged among team members. Maintain openness and transparency. Foster a culture of transparency and openness where information is shared freely. Cultivate common values. Promote shared values that emphasize integrity and cooperation. Demonstrate leadership through action. Lead by example, showcasing the behaviors and attitudes you expect from your team. Set clear expectations. Ensure that the expectations are clearly communicated to prevent misunderstandings. And ensure fairness and consistency in rewards. Implement fair and consistent reward systems that recognize positive behaviors and outcomes. By focusing on these aspects, you can foster an environment that promotes constructive conflict resolution and minimizes destructive conflicts. When it comes to conflicts, it's essential to assess whether your intervention is necessary. As a manager, you play a crucial role in conflict resolution, but not every disagreement requires your immediate involvement. Here are some considerations to help you decide. Is the behavior impacting others' work performance? Evaluate whether the conflict is affecting the ability of others to perform their job effectively. Is overall performance declining? Monitor whether the overall team performance is declining due to the ongoing dispute. Might this dispute harm team efficiency, partnerships, or customer relations? Consider the potential impact of the conflict on team efficiency, partnerships, and customer relations. Could this issue escalate negatively? Reflect on whether the conflict has the potential to escalate into abuse, bullying, or create a harmful workplace atmosphere. In such cases, your role is to provide an objective perspective on the situation and help facilitate understanding among the parties involved. One valuable approach to conflict resolution is conflict coaching, which means meeting separately with the parties involved in a conflict to engage in open dialogue and explore potential paths to resolution. The primary objective of conflict coaching is to empower the individuals to find their own resolutions. Here are some key insights into conflict coaching. Recognize that not all conflicts should be suppressed. Healthy disagreement can drive innovation within an organization. When it becomes clear that destructive conflict won't resolve itself, consider conflict coaching as a neutral third-party intervention. Meet with the conflicting parties individually or collectively depending on the situation. Listen attentively to their perspectives, inquire about root causes, and encourage them to brainstorm potential solutions. Guide each party to consider their own resolution options without imposing or suggesting specific solutions. Remember that the responsibility for resolving the conflict rests with the individual parties, fostering ownership of solutions. Multiple coaching sessions with each party may be necessary to facilitate resolution. Conflict coaching can also serve as a preventative measure, helping team members prevent conflicts from escalating needlessly and providing techniques for avoiding negative conflicts. It's worth noting that conflict coaching may precede formal conflict mediation, but it can also lead to independent resolutions. Regardless of the outcome, your coaching efforts contribute to more effective conflict management within your team. Most of the time, the conflict isn't a matter of life or death. It's about a minor disagreement. However, as a manager, your timing in addressing conflicts is crucial. Addressing them early creates room for potential resolution. For minor disputes, consider initially empowering the involved parties to attempt self-resolution. While the solutions may seem straightforward, heightened emotions can hinder compromise without outside assistance. In cases involving multiple parties, conflict coaching may not be the most efficient starting point. Instead, convene a meeting to facilitate a discussion about the issue. Encourage each party to nominate 1 or 2 representatives to represent their side. During the meeting, assume the role of a mediator. Similar to a referee, Your impartiality and commitment to fairness are paramount. You establish and enforce procedural rules such as maintaining respectful communication, avoiding interruptions, and ensuring equitable talk time. The objective is to oversee a civil discussion where each side presents their perspectives. Actively listen and ask clarifying questions to understand their viewpoints. Promote the generation of ideas that could lead to resolution. Encourage the parties to share their suggestions and propose hypothetical scenarios, what-ifs. As the mediator, your role is to facilitate constructive negotiation, aiming for a mutually satisfactory resolution. While you may offer ideas and suggestions, the primary goal is to guide the parties toward a resolution that they both find acceptable. Conflict coaching and conflict mediation share several common principles. First, ensure that participation is voluntary and maintain confidentiality. Crucially, as a mediator, your role is to remain completely impartial. Your neutrality and fairness are your most valuable contributions to the process, as any bias can erode trust and confidence. Once trust is established, your primary task is to facilitate a cooperative, respectful, and constructive discussion among the conflicting parties. Your role is not to advocate for any one side, but to enhance communication, fostering a willingness to engage in collaborative negotiation. Mediators typically focus on facilitating negotiations, helping parties identify their interests, and working toward mutually acceptable solutions. However, they refrain from providing answers or solutions directly. Mediators often employ various techniques, such as two truths, where conflicting parties acknowledge differing perspectives respectfully. Another approach is the impact technique, which involves asking questions to highlight flaws in destructive ideas and encourage the generation of alternative options. Alternatively, mediators may use the common criteria approach, where parties share key components of a good solution, identifying common goals. As a conflict mediator, it's crucial to establish ground rules against personal attacks and abusive language. These guidelines help maintain a productive and respectful mediation environment. When scheduling conflict coaching sessions and mediations, consider the timing. Morning sessions, or those shortly after lunch, are often better, as people tend to have more energy and better judgment during these times. Avoid scheduling when individuals might be tired or stressed, which can impact their judgment. Select neutral settings for mediations whenever possible. Environments that don't remind participants of the conflict can be more conducive to effective discussions. During mediation, be vigilant for trigger words, phrases, or disrespectful body language. Encourage the use of I or we instead of you to prevent personal blame. Focus on the current issue and avoid allowing old disputes or unrelated issues to enter the conversation. Past grievances can derail the discussion. Watch for power dynamics, such as one party dominating the conversation or subtly asserting their superior rank or status. Address these issues to maintain a balanced mediation. Avoid questioning the honesty of the parties. Instead, encourage them to support their statements with evidence and facts. This approach fosters a more constructive discussion. Interpersonal conflicts often stem from emotions and misunderstandings that existed before you became their manager. For illustration purposes, assume you haven't had a chance to address these conflicts. Start with conflict coaching, possibly accelerated due to urgency. Meet with each party separately, listen to their perspectives, and coach them towards reconciliation. Understanding the root cause is key for successful coaching and potential mediation, especially when relationships need urgent repair. To effectively address conflict, you need to be comfortable with it and confident in your ability to manage it. Avoiding or ignoring conflict can lead to potentially harmful situations within your team. Effective conflict resolution is a multi-step process that requires careful planning and execution. Here is how we can systematically approach disagreements and work toward a mutually beneficial outcome. 1. Recognize the disagreement. Acknowledge and clearly define the existence of a conflict that needs resolution. 2. Prepare your approach. Strategize the resolution process by selecting a neutral setting and time that encourages open and honest communication. 3. Verify the information. Gather and confirm the factual accuracy of all data related to the conflict to prevent misunderstandings. 4. Consider your alternatives. Assess different approaches to solving the conflict, understanding the implications of each for all involved parties. 5. Redefine the dispute. Look at the conflict from a new angle to identify shared goals and interests that may have been overlooked. 6. Oversee the settlement process. Facilitate the conversation, ensuring that all parties have a chance to contribute toward a collaborative solution. And 7. Activate the support system. Engage additional help, such as mediators or legal advisors, if the conflict cannot be resolved internally. By following these steps, we aim to turn conflict into an opportunity for improvement and understanding, leading to stronger relationships and better teamwork. In summary, management is about guiding teams effectively through the maze of conflicts. It is a skill that requires a proactive approach to prevent issues and navigate through them when they arise. Managers guide teams. Your role in conflict resolution is to steer the team through disagreements with a steady hand, ensuring that conflicts become opportunities for growth rather than obstacles. Commonality of conflicts. Conflicts are a natural part of team dynamics. The goal is to anticipate potential disputes and mitigate them early on to prevent escalation. Conflict coaching as a tool. Utilize conflict coaching to address disputes head-on, reducing the likelihood of conflict and preparing individuals for mediation if necessary. Root cause analysis. Before moving to formal mediation, assess the underlying causes of a conflict. Often, parties involved can find resolutions independently with a bit of guidance. Mediation techniques. When mediation is required, apply time-tested strategies to facilitate a resolution that all parties can agree upon. Seek external assistance. Should internal resolution efforts falter, it's prudent to seek external support, whether that means professional counseling, mediation expertise, or guidance from senior management. By embracing these principles, managers can effectively manage most team conflicts, even without formal training in counseling or mediation. Thank you for watching this webinar. We hope you found this information helpful and insightful. For any questions, feel free to contact CHCI Press at chcipress.com.